The second presentation now concentrates rather on the company perspective and is titled Smart Service Transformation, Potentials and Hurdles for Companies. And the presenter is Professor Dr. Roman Dumitrescu, who is director at Fraunhofer Institute for Mechatronics Design, IEM, and head of Advanced Systems Engineering Department at the Heinz Nixdorf Institute of the University of Paderborn. In addition, because this is not enough. Roman is Managing Director of the Technology Network Intelligente Technische Systeme in Ostwestfalen-Lippe, the ITS OWL, and he is also a member of the German Academy of Science and Engineering, the acatech, and of the expert group of the German government's Innovation Dialogue, a member of the Research Advisory Board of the 3D MID Research Association, and a member of the Board of Directors of the RKIW Competence Center for Rationalization and Innovation in Industry. Roman holds a professorship in Advanced System Engineering and focuses his research on the product development of intelligent technical systems. So very nice having you here and looking forward now to the mapping to the companies. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Now I want to go into the next few minutes into the topic, what are the potentials for companies and especially what are the barriers, the hurdles to transform your whole company in order to provide smart services as we heard before, because the potentials are already very good described, but it's not that easy. But we will see that there is a help and there is also important that we have a systematic way in order to transform your whole company. So let me start again. What is smart services? So smart services, when we're talking about smart services, we're talking about services that are mostly based on data that you all, most of them gain during operation mode, and you use this data in order to add additional value to your customer. And for that purpose, you also need a smart product, because only a smart product can give you data. It needs sensors and needs kind of a connectivity, and you need kind of a technology stack behind that in order to get that information, and you analyze this information, and then maybe you make like a software upgrade. Could be one idea for smart service, very small idea. But there's a lot of benefits when you look into it. And the most important part, Mr. Kagerman already said, the most important part that such kind of systems, smart product service systems, give you one possibility. That's very important. That you get a close interaction to your customer. You know maybe way better before how your customer is using your products, when it's using it, when it's failed in using, when there are problems with the product, and you can work on that. You can work together with your customer. This is one of the biggest advantages of some kind of smart system that you can have. But of course, you can also increase the efficiency. The very simplest and I would say the easiest smart services that everybody is providing in manufacturing, for example, is predictive maintenance, so that you can see when the maintenance time is for your product or for your component that you should take care. So there are many benefits. I don't want to go into all of the details because I want to talk about what is necessary to change in your company. And of course, and I try to divide it very simply into two areas. The first area is the technology area. And I already mentioned a little bit that you need a technology stack, from sensors, from your smart product, or making it more smart, to maybe about the cloud connection that you need, and also some kind of analytics solution at the end that you do something with the data that you can gain there. So this is something that we're discussing a lot of it. And we see also, I think, in the embedded world, a lot of solutions for this type of aspect according to smart services. The second part is also very important. And this is more a market view. We don't have to do smart services just to make the product more smarter and because the product getting more expensive. We also have to think for what purpose and how to change maybe the business model behind the products. This is very important. And we will see that we also need in those many companies different competencies than maybe we had in the past to be successful with our products. So there's a lot of things to do, but I would like to go first, how could we get an idea for a smart service? Why should I transform my business? And the easiest way is the technology push way. So we are a company, we're developing products, and we're making those products more and more intelligent. Let's call them smart products. We put sensors there. We have sophisticated mechatronics, control engineering behind that. And then, of course, all the companies are thinking, what can we do with this? And one part is added value by smart service. So we put some connectivity in that we see a lot of IoT devices in this, at the embedded world, for example, and using IoT devices in order also to add smart services into your product. And this is what I see very often in companies this way. And the third question comes up is how to make money with this. It's possible to be successful in this way, but it's maybe not the straightforward way. I would say a straightforward way is the other way around, as Mr. Kagermann already said, coming from how the business model would change the products that we are providing and, of course, the services that we are providing. So let's have a look from the customer. And I have to admit that I would be one of those guys going to a shop and will buy a Hilti driller, not only for drilling holes, just to have the Hilti driller, maybe, but of course, most of the products we have in mechanical and plant engineering are not that fascinated as product itself. I give you one short example, which I think it's a very good example. It's a separator. A separator is a machine where you separate, for example, fluidics and particles. You need it for beer production, you need it for milk production, you need farm industry. On every ship you have a separator because you have to separate water and oil. And I don't know nobody who is fascinated by a separator, except those guys who are developing the separators. So the customer wants to get rid of the separation process in the end. He wants a solution for the separation process. He don't want to buy, or she doesn't want to buy a separator itself. So we have to think about the business model behind. Maybe we provide services, a solution based on IoT, based on a smart product, based on smart services, and based maybe on a different business model where we sell the solution or the hole that we drill and not the driller itself. So this is one of the key ideas also behind smart services, and this needs a lot of change for your company. I can guarantee you that, and it's not a very easy way to do, and we heard it has to be more in an ambidextrous way that you have to do it. Still working on your current business, but also have a look what you can do on smart business with such kind of solutions. So, and if you want to transform your company, there are several aspects that you have to transform. And we divided it for our Smart Service Index, when we have a closer look in a few minutes, by my colleague Martin, into two areas. The first area is that we have to look what is changing according to our market offer, to our product itself. What is about, what kind of connectivity do I need? It's also technical questions. What kind of product functionality do I need? What kind of service do I want to provide? And also, what is the question about the business model behind that? But it's also very important to have a look on the second part, and this is the art, I would say, really called the art of the value creation behind that. We have to change the way that we organize something. I know many mechanical plant engineering don't know the word of deployment. Software guys everybody knows what software deployment is. And we need service deployment in that case. Service deployment is a big change for a mechanical plant engineering focused company because they're not familiar with that kind of value creation. Very often you sell your product and then you hope that you can maintain the product and have service business. This is their traditional service business. But this is something, a total different game. And also the culture has to change. We need some different culture, different people, different competencies in that case, which is very important also to have a close look on the change of the value creation. And one important part of the value creation is also has also a technology view. And this is by providing something, a smart service, you need this technology stack not only from the product, also by a cloud service, by the complete technology stack that you can offer and deploy smart services, which is also not familiar to many traditional mechanical plant engineering companies or to specific traditional industries, especially in Germany. So we think if you want to go the way into a smart service, which is a good idea, as we already heard, you have to work on all those 6 aspects very closely, and all of those 6 aspects also are interacting to each other. And this is important. Otherwise, you will not be able to provide smart services or having an offer in that case. And of course, as we will see, there are many, many topics come into play when you talk about smart service, because usually you should not only provide one service, more than one service, several services, and you will come up with the question, what is the platform? On which platform do you provide those kind of services at the end? So this is a very interesting question that you also have to think about. So when I would like to introduce on a very generic level our Smart Service Index, and Martin will go into detail how you can use the Smart Service Maturity Index. But I would like to introduce the maturity levels that we identified. And those are 6 maturity levels that we believe typically companies, they are more coming from product producing companies, going to smart service providing companies. And the first maturity level is a digital starter. So companies, they are just having like the first steps going into digitalization and put them into their products and especially also maybe in their value creation. But it's more like some pilots will start and pilot projects. And this is what the second maturity level is what we see over the last 5 to 10 years. Very often that a lot of product producing companies going into the field of producing smart products. So we put our IoT devices into the products. We have even now putting AI in our products, in our different systems. So this is something which is already running. The next step would be then, and again, as I said, if you have a smart product, you should think also about providing a smart service. Thinking about maybe I start with the first service. Maybe I don't get that much money for that first service, but I gain information because I have to admit there are some challenges. You need data from your customer. So there are some legal issues, some security issues also about this topic. So it's something maybe you will start with a customer that you really know very well and that you have a close interaction with them. But of course, the next step, and this is for a smart service provider, really the crucial step is that you will provide smart services on a regular basis, that you also put your business model behind that you say, okay, most of a certain amount of business I will develop with smart services. And this is where you need more than smart services, you need a complete portfolio for that. So this is important. But you can go even further. I said 6 maturity levels. The next level would be, if you are really a smart service provider already, so you're successful in your business, you could think about what is the service maybe left or right to your existing business? What could you integrate in your solution? Where's something else sometimes providing services already and you could provide it with your solution, maybe a way better, maybe more focused on your product. And the last step, and this is something which is very familiar and we bring this together very often with companies which we call hyperscaler, that you build up a complete ecosystem and be an ecosystem leader. I have to say, it's not the goal for all companies to be ecosystem leader. It's not working that way. But to be part of a smart system ecosystem, this is crucial. And for that, you have to build up partnerships. So, and this is the kind of maturity levels we have a closer look in a few minutes, but I would like to give you an example because I think it's a very abstract description. And one example is one company I know very well and I work with them. It's the company of Claas. Claas is one of the world-leading developers and equipment manufacturer for agriculture equipment, especially in harvesting machines, tractors, everything that you need for agricultural processes is developed by this company, which is already more than 100 years old. And this company is interesting because we can look at the different steps they have taken over the last years. And when I start with the digital starter, this is I can skip the part of digital starter because this is a very profound step to take. But I think the last step is something they took over the last 20 years very seriously, maybe seriously than other companies. And this is developing really smart products, transforming the complete market offer, their products. Farming agricultural system, they're coming from pure mechanic systems, going by mechatronic systems, and then what we have here right now are self-driving tractors. We have systems that are have a lot of connectivity, a lot of technology there. You see, we're talking about very often about autonomous driving and autonomous cars. This is what we already see there, and we don't have like a flat street where those vehicles have to run. So they're very smart products, and of course they ask themselves the self questions, what kind of services we could exploit based on this smart products. And one of the very first basic service was just remote services where service providers get informed that you need a new service, maybe a new component, something is broken, and there will be an automatically process carried out afterwards. So very easy, very simple smart services at the beginning. But over the last 5-6 years, they provided a tremendous amount of smart services. Interesting smart services. Precision farming, for example. They are providing to their customers, to the farmers, a service where they take pictures by satellite from the areas, analyzing the crop, the level of crop, on which area the crop was better, on which area was less good. They optimize where to put more fertilization, where you could put less fertilization. They could also say how to drive your tractors according to field. So they make also route planning for you. And those services, for example, are provided by one platform, which they call 365 FarmNet, which is also a startup that they built, because it's also a part of the culture aspect, but I don't want to go into detail about this aspect. And you see there is something that I could truly say this company is a smart service provider already. Still developing and selling a lot of hardware product. And this is something could fit very well together as we see here. And of course, there's also vision. Where are the next steps? And what you can see here is just a short slide that you can see that also Class had to build up technical infrastructure, software-defined platform for that, something they were not used to as a mechanical-driven company. So something new, but they go in this zone and transform their company into a smart service provider. And what is interesting when we look at the next step, and Mr. Kagaman already said it very, very clearly, at one point you need partnership. And one partnership, just one example, is another mechanical engineering company, GEA, one of I think top 5 German mechanical plant engineering companies. They are really big also in smart farming, especially in dairy, so dairy equipment. And it's nothing that Class is doing. But working together on one platform, providing service to a farmer, means you're working on an ecosystem for a smart farm. And this is something interesting. And I think we will see this kind of changing the business and building up ecosystems in many, many cases in the future, in many, many other industries. And I'm also convinced this is cross-industrial from the methodology, from the service, from the IT part. But we see also that's very interesting in many different industries how the partnerships will come together and build strategic partnerships. So very interesting. So, and what we're doing with our Smart Maturity Index, as Martin will explain, we did just a very easy way. We tried to develop a methodology how to get from your status quo to a target picture, I would say, and how to approach this on a very systematic way, not to get lost in this process of transforming your company. Because it's something crucial to transform not only your product, to transform also your company, and therefore we think we should provide help. And I think we had a very competent consortium there with a lot of research partners from Aachen, from Paderborn, and the acatech to build up a methodology. And I'm glad that we could present it today the first time, and this will be the part of Martin. So thank you for your attention.